Hello. So this is the first infrastructure call for AdoptOpenJDK. It is the 6th of February, and on the call today we have myself, George Adams, Brad Blondin, and Pete Stanton. So I don't know whether we just want to do a very quick round call, just to update on anything that we may have or may not be doing this week. Should we start with Brad?
All right. So the latest is our AWX server, aka Ansible Tower, is now up and running with GitHub authentication. So now people who want to have access, if they already have GitHub access to AdoptOpenJDK, can now log in with their GitHub ID and then request administrative privileges as needed. We have one hiccup is that it looks like a couple of the underlining packages for AWX have been upgraded, and now the job output screen does not refresh. But other than that, everything else is working fine. And today I'm going to be populating it with our inventory of our systems.
Have we? Did you have a look at that thing with it being a self-run certificate? Are we able to swap it out to be a Cloudflare one, or is that not possible?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So I think the certificate is still self-signed. Are we able to swap that out with one of the Cloudflare ones?
Oh, yes. So we do, yes. It is set up with a self-signed certificate currently. Once we get a real certificate, then we can swap it out.
Okay, let me know and I'll get some fresh for you. We can get them out of Cloudflare quite easily.
All right, yeah, send it over when you have it, and I'll swap it out.
Cool, that'd be brilliant.
Because it's just set up with a Nix reverse proxy in front of it off the main host.
Yeah, pretty much the same as you do with Jenkins then.
Yep.
Cool, brilliant. Can you hear us, Pete?
Yeah, sorry, you keep breaking up. I'm going gargly. What have I been doing this week? I fixed up a few of the test machines. Nagios was reporting disk space issues. I found one of them with a lot of old, like test jobs that Jenkins had abandoned. So that's probably worth investigating. Going back to like November, December, just old Java processors hanging around. There were dozens of them. I killed them all off, but there's something there needs looking at. So I might have a look at that. I've also got an issue open somewhere to stick the Windows machines into Nagios, and we can monitor those as well. Done before. I've got them all monitoring in Hersley, so we know how to do it.
That'd be nice. It's worth saying, I think the Node.js Foundation have a Jenkins cron job that is basically runs on all of the machines and checks all those processes and then cleans them up. So it could be worth us something like that just to make sure there's no processes left over at the end of the day.
Sure.
That'd be nice. Cool. So myself, I did a little bit of work tidying up some of the Nagios playbooks. I also started work on automating the Jenkins side of Ansible. So when we spin up a new machine, we're able to automatically add it into the build farm without basically opening the manual stuff. And other than that, I've also kind of started picking out the pieces required for the macOS playbook. But I'm kind of at a point where I think 90% of it is the same as the Linux playbook. So I'm kind of partially tempted to consider perhaps having a Windows playbook and more like a Unix playbook. I don't know whether that would make sense, Brad. I know that's, I think, what the Node.js Foundation do, because I think they have a lot of similar functions.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. There's always some room for improvement there, especially for cleaning up. The stuff that you did the other day there with Nagios has definitely simplified it. One other thing I should mention about Nagios is that I created that master function, which was a backend bash script that runs off of the Nagios server. So now it'll automatically add all the machines to directly be monitored. And we'll also add it to the appropriate host group.
Yeah, it might be worth us refactoring that at some point. But I think what I'll do is I'll get a PR in for the Mac one, and then probably a case we'll just have a vote and see how similar it is once it's completely done. I know with Mac OS there's a few weird sort of bumbly bits, but things like FreeBSD and SmartOS are a little bit more similar and possibly pretty much the same. 39% of the functions. So
Yeah, to get those guys up and running, we have to make sure we have a machine that we can play with to blow up a couple times.
Yeah,
make sure
so
that
if we
fully functions.
need machines, I can easily enough to spin them up. We've got resources to do that. So it would be good to get, I think, at least a FreeBSD one in, because I know that we've got the FreeBSD Foundation wants to try and come and do some of their builds with us. So it'd be nice to say, yeah, we've got a working playbook that doesn't mean you need to run and build everything first. We don't really have much of an agenda, to be honest with you. I'm just looking at the actual issues. So you got an issue about Docker being broken on build join 2. Is that correct, Brad? Is that still an issue?
Okay.
So we've got an issue on Docker for build join Ubuntu number 2.
The text box.
I'm not aware of that. You have a link?
So you created it. Issue 171. Docker broken on build joint x64 Ubuntu 1604 number 2.
Number 2. All right. We can rerun the playbook against the machine to try to correct that.
Right. Okay. I mean, if it's a bit weird, we can easily enough delete it and rebuild it, I suppose. But it's good to get that bug ironed out if there is something wrong with it, because I think we rely on that machine quite heavily. Okay. The only other sort of main issue, I suppose, that's... Oh, do you want a link? Yeah, I'll send you a link. The only other main issues that I think we've been talking about quite a lot is host names and machines and stuff. I don't know whether you want to talk about that now or save that for another time. But I think we're all in agreement that we need to tidy up the host name situation and standardize it so that it's all, you know, nicely clean and standardized across all of them.
Yes, indeed. So I was working on some of that earlier. I cleaned up the Ubuntu machines that I was aware of between Nagios, Ansible Tower, and Jenkins. I should double check to make sure that in the machine list that we have on GitHub also matches those machines that I did change. I'll take care of that shortly. But for the other ones, yeah, we do need to press forward on the other OSs as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, we actually got a function now where we are setting the host name in Ansible, or is that still, we're kind of just manually changing it?
Yes. So the assumption is that when you provision a machine, you have named the machine correctly.
Okay.
Because the Ansible script won't know any better.
Yeah.
But it'll take that and it'll fix the host file to make sure that the machine and its fully qualified domain name and everything's in the host file. And that's also what's used to be passed through Nagios as well.
Okay. So it could be worth, I mean, this is kind of going back to the inventory stuff, isn't it? Because obviously Node have that nice sort of harness where it also names it through the, I think they've got some Python script that is able to sort of automatically name it from the inventory. It gets kind of quite complicated. I'm not sure how well that would work inside AWS. The only concern I possibly have. But yeah, we need... Can you get the AWS description out as an Ansible variable? I wasn't sure if you could. I don't know if you played around with that.
Yeah, it's called inventory name.
Oh, so you can, because I've been setting the description equal to the
but
name.
the inventory, like if the inventory name that you have in AWS doesn't match anything, it doesn't matter. Because the setting we're running with is the Ansible host name.
Okay, fair enough.
And the Ansible fully qualified domain name.
Got you. Okay. Because in AWS, what I've always done is set up the inventory so that we have the IP address. The description, I've obviously set that as the name that we're used to referring it to.
Right. So the trick there is that it works very nicely through Ansible Tower if the host name is resolvable.
Right.
But in most cases, that's not going to be the case. So you have to name the host name the IP address and use the host name in the description.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we kind of need a way. I did, because at one point I did even think about whether we should just have a separate DNS that resolved each host name. And I think it could get a bit weird. I don't know whether that's a standard practice or whether that would get a bit messy.
Given that these machines come from all over the place, that could become quite messy.
Yeah. Yeah, it could, really. It would be ideal. Okay, we'll have to have a play around with that. But yeah, I mean, what I was sort of going down the lines of was if I could set, when I add a machine to AWX, I always add the IP address, and as the description, I add the sort of familiar name that we use. And so I was thinking along the lines of if we could pull out that description tag in Ansible, then we could just set the host name to that, and that would be an easy way of sanitizing it. But I'm not sure whether you can properly get that description variable or whether you can only get the IP and the FTDN thing.
I'm sure you, well, there are APIs for it, and I'm sure you could dump out every field.
Right. Okay.
You really needed to.
Right. Okay. Yeah, let's try to have a little look at what we get. All right, I'll have a little play around with that. That'd be good to look at. But yeah, I agree. We need to work on that, because I think the sooner we do it, the better. Or we're going to end up with thousands of machines with random host names that we're going to have to suddenly go and sanitize and update the records. So that'd be good. Looking if there's anything else in the backlog. There's one other issue in the backlog that I created a while back about, I think, one of the PCLE machines is Ubuntu 16.10, and it's the build machine that we're using for OpenJ9. And I think it would be good to move that to be an Ubuntu 16.04 box at some point to match up with the rest of them. I don't know whether
it's a good idea. The 04 is the longer term release.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to just wipe it and reposition it. I mean, the playbook should run it pretty easily anyway. Shouldn't be a long task. I might have a play around with it next week. I just don't want to have any downtime on the J9 build, because that's the only machine that we have that kind of builds it. But I'll have a play around. Yeah.
18 falls out in a couple of months. Have we got any plans to move on with that?
We should probably fire one up for testing purposes, but I haven't heard anything from the test teams that expressed any interest in that yet.
Yeah, we generally go on when Shelley asks for it, we give it to her. And I haven't been nagged by Shelley yet, which means I'm not interested. I imagine, I would imagine in the next month or two, we probably want to start looking at adding those data platforms. I know that obviously we're still waiting for our tier 1 provider to fully set up their infrastructure, but when we have that, we should have a very powerful machine that we can put, I think, about 60 Ubuntu instances on. So we should be able to get up quite a few more experimental machines and use that a bit more freely, which would be nice. So that's probably the ideal time when that happens, I would say. Brad, I gave you the machine details for that second Windows machine a while back. And
Give me the what, sir?
I gave you the machine credentials for the second Windows machine.
Okay.
Second Windows machine. And I think you kicked off a build, but it complained about being connected. I think perhaps I hadn't run the PowerShell stuff correctly on it.
Yes. In the playbook, on the header of the playbook, it describes what you have to do.
Right. Okay, I'll do that and then get it added, because I know Martin's keen to stop paying for the one-on-one build machine that we're currently using. So that'd be good, because that's the software one that I think Finn got for us. So.
Yeah, give those steps a try that are in the top of in the comment section, and if that doesn't work for you, let me know and I'll jump in.
So are we happy with the AWX server now? Because I don't want to go and add more stuff and then find it all goes. Then are we going to be rebuilding the Ansible server again anytime soon, or are we okay to go and start adding tasks back to it?
Yeah, I say we're good to go as is now. I've also moved the database as well, so now it's in var instead of in temp, which is good. So the backup scripts are now pointed to it, and I'm starting to populate it now as well.
Right. Okay.
But down the road, we'll look at it again, see if we can fix the job output once AWX announces that they have a fix for it.
Yeah. Can we, with AWX, can you get templates from GitHub, or do you have to write them and store them on AWX server?
I suppose you could find templates. I don't know if there's an actual import feature, at least not in the web interface. But they're pretty simple to create, and in a lot of cases, you're going to piggyback off the same project.
Right. Yes. Okay. It'd be good to have something like that, because obviously, the less manual work required, the better. Which kind of goes in hand with the vendor files thing I was discussing with you the other day about. We kind of need to store in the vendor files without exposing the secrets that are in there. Because I think obviously we heavily rely on the layout of that set of vendor files, don't we, in playbooks?
The vendor files and stuff.
Yeah, we don't really, we don't want to lose them again.
Yeah, I have them backed up.
Okay, brilliant. That's good.
But that's another thing we need to look at is we need to have a proper backup solution. So because right now most of these infrastructure machines are just backing up to themselves, which is not good. We need to find some place to put these files.
So something like some form of FTP server, maybe, or.
Well, I mean, if we just had another server somewhere that we were putting them, we're calculating the odds of that machine dying versus all the other machines dying. That would be a lot better than what we have now. But ideally, if we had money to spend, it'd be a proper machine with backup to tape and then proper storage.
We don't have any money, bro. I know the main CI has a separate Samba share that we use to back up to.
Well, that's not as secure, but I mean, we could have the machines SCP it over.
Yes, so we could possibly do something like that, and then at least it isn't a separate disk. I know it's about 400 gigs, so it's quite a good size. It might be a better solution than nothing right now, anyway.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, we'll have to have a look at that. Other than that, there's pretty much everything in the backlog. There's still some info requests lying around that we'll have to slowly tackle. I know that Shelley is obviously keen to get AIX, which we don't have a huge amount of control over. We're going to have to just wait on Tim. I've got the contact, so I might try and approach them myself, but I think if Tim approached them, it might look a bit better. It's just basically I think we could ideally do with one other AIX machine that we could split into a few LPARs and run deep test machines and some TCP machines on. And I think I'm right in saying that the AIX playbook's pretty much done. Is that right, Brad?
That's what I understand. Joe DeConing is the one working on that.
Right. Okay. I added a comment recently about RAM disk. I couldn't see anyway RAM disk being done in the scripts. So it'd be worth us getting that last bit added, and then I think I'm pretty much happy to merge it. It's just that little bit of startup script that we do that creates the RAM disk, and then I think changes the conditions and creates a folder called Jenkins jobs or something. So yeah, that'd be good to have just automated rather than having to manually add that machine that we do. But other than that, that's pretty much everything I can see in the issues that need attention. So I don't know whether there was anything that you guys needed to bring up that wasn't in GitHub issues.
I can't think of anything else.
Me neither.
No. Okay. Well, that works nicely then. Yeah. 30-minute. Brilliant. Thanks for joining, guys. I have a slightly larger turnout next week. I'll try and write up some agenda notes very briefly on what we discussed, but obviously it's going on YouTube, so that should be fine. But yes, anyway, thanks for joining. I think that will do.
Excellent. Thanks.
See you guys next week.